Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Sue Deering, and I'm the president of this wonderful club that has over 526 members. I'd like to thank all the board members, committee members, candidates, volunteers who made this evening possible. Special thanks to Shelley Ilwitz, who is sponsoring the refreshments for tonight under our hospitality sponsorship program. Thank you, Shelley. I don't think she's here. All right, now, if you would all stand as you are able, and we will say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yesterday, we celebrated Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. To honor his legacy, we should be practicing days of service and activism, not just one day, but every day of the year. His goals were to eradicate racism, poverty, and war. Let each of us do our small part for the efforts started by him and by so many others years ago. Together, we can. There is still so much to do. The club has a lot going on this month, and we've made a save the dates half-page flyer that is on your tables. Please take one home with you and try to join us on for some of those events. Remember, as the saying goes, half the battle is showing up. So let's show up and let's win the battle. Now we have some club business. On Sundays at 3:30 p.m., watch Black in Laguna Woods. The January program features Annie McCary and Alan Williams of the African American Heritage Club speaking about their club's upcoming events. Technical problems with the Katie Porter video have meant that we could not show that video this month. Therefore, we are rebroadcasting the Threats to Democracy program with Professor Simone Chambers in January, Wednesdays at 2 p.m. It's fascinating and informative, so if you did not see it, please tune in. Our February 20th meeting features two members of the Democratic National Committee, Ada Briseno and Susie Shannon. There's a flyer on your tables. Please try to join us for that very important meeting. And now, Get Out the Vote Chair Mary Rabando has an announcement, and she will be followed by Janice Burston. Mary.
Get out the vote. We're getting ready to take it to where it needs to go. We have our kickoff meeting scheduled for the 25th between 10 and noon at Clubhouse 5. And we have lots of volunteers, but we would be happy to accept anyone else who wants to volunteer. We're also doing voter registration. And we have a voter registration event at the Towers this coming Saturday, Monday. Okay. I have to visualize what those numbers are on my calendar. It's Monday the 22nd. We're doing that in the lobby from 10 to 2. So if you haven't been contacted, if you volunteered to do door hangers and you haven't been contacted by anyone yet, please come see me. I'm in the back corner here, and we'll make arrangements to get your materials to you if you can't make the meeting on the 25th. Thanks, everyone.
Good evening, Democrats and those like-minded people. To follow Mary's January 25th, or our Get Out the Vote kickoff, I'm organizing a rally on January 26th between 3 and 4 on El Toro, in between City Hall, Laguna Woods City Hall, and Olive Garden Restaurant. In case anybody, well, I think you all know there is a primary coming up very shortly, but there are a lot of people out there who don't know don't care, and so we want to generate some enthusiasm and awareness. So January 26th, 3 to 4, you don't have to stay the whole time. And the theme of the rally is Vote Democratic to Save Our Democracy.
Okay, one of the many things listed on your events list, on your Save the Dates list, is some postcard writing. And we have two campaigns, actually, that we're writing to. One is actually postcards, and the other is letter writing or letter sending. So the postcards are for the Orange County Board of Education. And if you've been following what's going on in education around the country, you have heard about book bans, and you've heard about culture wars, and you've heard about persecution of trans children, which just really makes my blood boil because they're just children. So why anyway? But and we have a Board of Education that is kind of that mindset. We have some boards some school boards in the county that are one that has been completely taken over by that cohort, and the several others that have been threatened. Some have been rebuffed, but not all of them. But the problem is that with our County Board of Education, they tend to support schools that are not public schools, and that's a big issue. They tend to rubber stamp any charter school that gets rejected by the district in which it originally applied for its charter. And so that means they take anybody regardless of their financial fitness and all kinds. I won't go into all the details, but they really are not doing what they need to do to support public education. And so there are 3 candidates in 3 of the areas in Orange County, not ours, but we're supporting the effort anyway because it impacts everybody in the county. And so we are writing in support of one of those candidates. We are sending Get Out the Vote postcards, and we have very cute little postcards with a school bus on them, so that and they're going only to women, because women are the ones that typically are involved with, I mean, the reality is that usually it's the women that are involved with their kids' schooling. So the postcards are going to women. You'll have a script that you can follow, and you can personalize the postcard in several different ways. We have all the addresses pre-printed on mailing labels, so what you need to do is write your own script based on the instructions we give you, and then adding your own comments. This is going to happen on the 18th, which is 2 days from now, Thursday, starting at 9 o'clock, going until noon. And we are going to be meeting at Clubhouse 5 in the multipurpose room number 1. The second effort is to get out the vote among people who are Laguna Woods residents, but who do not live in Laguna Woods Village and therefore are not going to get the door hangers. So we have some materials, including a copy of our slate of candidates and some other information. And so we're going to mail that to people. In this case, we're going to hand address envelopes, and then you're going to write a little personal note along with the material that is already pre-printed. So you're invited to help us. I think that we'll need at least 20 people, maybe 25 people. If for some reason you cannot come and you're not available on the 18th, please get in touch with me. My contact information is on your Save the Date sheet, and I will arrange to get materials to you if you want to write but can't come with us on the 18th. Thank you.
Happy New Year. I think we can still say that, right? Okay, folks, it's 2024. It's actually here, all right? So we can't put it off anymore. We can't skip right over to 2025, even though it might be a great idea to do it. We know what the threat is. We know how real it is. We know what it's looking like. We know what the opponent's going to be. We know what they stand for. Policies mean nothing this coming year. It's all ideology. We've got to get out, and we've got to support all of our candidates to support our next president, Joe Biden, again. So an update of our Nifty 60 fundraiser that we've been running all 2023, and will continue through the election this year. We had a goal of $20,000. We are just a little bit short as of today of $11,000. So halfway there, folks. But the election comes up in November, so it's a little bit shorter. I want to thank everybody for their tremendous generosity. I know it's a very trying time to do it, and you've all have reached in and done it. We've had over 100 members contribute, more than 20 to our blue cap to Bakers of Democracy for $100 more. So I'd like to thank you and encourage you to continue to donate to your ability. But we greatly appreciate everything that you've done. And finally, next on February meeting, the February 20th meeting, we're going to have a group photo. We'd like to get everybody, and we like everybody that's got their blue baker's cap to bring that with them so that they can put that on, and we'll take the group photo and keep things moving. And as our tradition, we'll be giving a blue cap to each one of our presenters for tonight. So again, thank you so much, and let's get it done here in 24.
Okay, next we have our club election. Maureen Mailer is usually in charge of this. Unfortunately, she's sick, so Alan Feldman graciously agreed to substitute here. After he reads the information about our slate of candidates, Richard Zimmer, who is the candidate, one of the candidates for OC Superior Court Judge, has agreed to administer our oath of office. And then Joel Goldstein and Marquita Miller will take a picture of all the board members and directors who will come up here as their names are called. So thank you for your patience. Hopefully it won't take more than a minute or so. Thank you. Alan.
Good evening to everybody, and thank you very much for coming tonight. So we're going to do the election, and the way we're going to do it is pretty much as Sue said. I'm going to read the names of the nominees from the nominating committee. As I read each name, the person whose name I read, please come up to the front here. After all the names have been read, I'm going to ask if anybody from the floor has any nominations. Somebody wants to run, you can nominate yourself, I guess, too. But anybody to run against any of the people or to run for the office of any of the people mentioned here. And then after that's all taken care of, we'll vote. And we'll see what's going on. So first thing I'm going to do is read the names of the people who have been selected by the nominating committee. First, we have the officers of the club. For President, Sue Deering, who's also in charge of the African American committee, but I think she does a few things other than that, too. Our first Vice President, Nancy Hensel, who does special events. Second Vice President, Mary Robondo, who spoke here a moment ago, does voter registration and Get Out the Vote, GOTV. The Secretary, Alan Feldman, who's I don't have to come up here, I'm already here. I'm the club's called associate member of the Central Committee. And Pat Leftwich, who is the club's treasurer. We also have at-large directors, who we have to vote on also. And Jonathan Adler, who is chairman of the Legislative Action Committee. Janice Burston, who spoke just a moment ago, too, in charge of activism. Ray Dapp, charge of fundraising. You spoke a moment ago, too. Deborah David, in charge of membership, Pat Freeman, in charge of nominating. Jean Lepowski, who also spoke, field organization and voter education. Deborah Orrell, who does the newsletter, publicity, and our village website. I don't believe. Kate Van Camp, who's in charge of hospitality. So, I'm sorry, our apologies, but Carol Melton, who is also going to be an at-large director. So, are there any other nominations from the floor? Anybody want to nominate anybody for any of these offices?
Please.
No, we're coming together. Just wait.
Okay, we're going 1, 2, 3, like the auctioneer sold, no vote for nominations. Okay, so now we vote. So you can vote if you are a member in good standing of the Laguna Woods Democratic Club and a registered Democrat. I think those are really the only conditions for voting. So we can do it, since there is no other nominations, we'll do it by, what do they call it, the consensus calendar?
Voice vote.
Voice vote. So everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Everybody opposed, say no. No. All right. Well, it looks like the result is it's unanimous.
Yeah, ayes have it.
The board of directors and the officers have all been reelected.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Congratulations. You ready to take your oath of office?
Yes.
Okay. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. That I am a registered Democrat. That I will support and defend the Democratic Party. And its platform. I do further swear. To uphold the bylaws and mission. Of the Laguna Woods Democratic Club. And that I take this obligation freely. Without any mental reservation. Or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties. Upon which I'm about to enter. Congratulations.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Now, before the candidates, Legislative Action Chair, Jonathan, don't sit down, will explain the one ballot measure that is on the primary ballot. There is only one. Thank you, Jonathan.
I got this in today's mail. You have gotten yours probably, or you should, soon will, the official voter information guide. It has many pages on Prop 1. I'm not going to take much of that time. When I see a bond measure, I apply a presumption. And in this case, regarding mental health facilities, I apply two more presumptions. First presumption is that because it's getting so much harder for the state to raise money, and ever since Ronald Reagan's 1980 race, you know, there have been attacks on government, anti-government, anti-tax efforts. So it's important that we raise money for important things whenever we can, buy bonds, unless they're absolutely foolish. So this is not absolutely foolish. It combines two things. One is building facilities, and two, changing the law to accommodate the building of facilities. This is in the context of the governor and the legislature putting a lot of money into mental health, homelessness, veterans homelessness. It's really a major effort that involves billions of dollars. So this is a $6.38 billion bond, which will be sold and paid probably over a 40-year period to build mental health treatment facilities for those with not only mental health but substance use challenges, and also to provide housing for the homeless. So that is the essence of it. I just want to say that when I was working and litigating, I litigated a lot on behalf of mentally ill and developmentally disabled people, helped co-found Mental Health Advocacy Services, Inc., the country's leading service outfit. It is well-deserved, well-needed. So the club urges you to vote yes on the one and only prop we have on the ballot, Prop 1. And thank you for your attention. Oh, I have one more thing. There's a trivia question. I got this hat about 6 years ago for a lady whose last name was Smart, who ran for treasurer of Orange County. If anybody can think of her first name, please tell me. Can't think of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Now to the format for this forum. Alan Feldman will be the timer. Thank you, Alan. Jean Lepowski will ask the questions. I will introduce the candidates by name and office only, and then they will tell you about themselves. We will start with the Central Committee candidates, then the Orange County Superior Court judge candidates, followed by California Assembly and Senate candidates, and ending with the congressional candidates. Before the Central Committee candidates come up, Alan Feldman will provide a brief description of what the Central Committee is and does, because we are betting that most of you don't know. Thank you, Alan.
Well, hello again. This is an election for the Central Committee of the Democratic Party of Orange County, the DPOC, we call it for okay, DPOC, we call it for shorthand. They're elected by assembly district. There are 9 assembly districts in Orange County, and each assembly district elects 6 members to the Central Committee. There are a lot more members on the Central Committee than just the 54 who are being elected. There are club members called associate members, and there are what's called ex officio members. That means elected officials, Democratic elected officials in Orange County. So sometimes there's almost 200 people involved in the committee. The way I look at the Central Committee is it's kind of the board of directors for the Democratic Party of Orange County. It sets the tone and the direction for the DPOC. Members of the Central Committee are really the most direct contact people in the community have, and also the clubs have, with the DPOC and the state party also. So they bring the concerns, the things people are worried about and talking about, like you and me, they bring those concerns to the DPOC, and sometimes they go up to the California Democratic Party. Members of the members of the Central Committee also, there's a resolutions committee, which offers resolutions to the Central Committee on issues, local issues, countywide issues, state issues, federal issues, even sometimes international issues. So they write and offer resolutions. The Central Committee can accept them, adopt them, or reject them. There's also a legislative committee. They look at legislation, and again, from the local level down to city ordinances all the way up to sometimes federal laws, and they recommend on some legislation whether or not the Central Committee should endorse the legislation or oppose the legislation. And that's really the way the Central Committee kind of acts as the board of directors. Central Committee members help recruit candidates for local office, and that is not easy, especially now. It's difficult to find people who are willing to run for the water boards, for the school boards of education. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of energy, and sometimes it takes a lot of money. So the Central Committee is really very active in recruiting candidates. They also vet candidates who are asking for the DPOC endorsement. They're vetted by members of the Central Committee. Then the Central Committee also is involved in the endorsement process of local candidates. Many members of the Central Committee are also delegates to the California Democratic Party Convention, so they have a voice also in nominating and endorsing statewide candidates, the constitutional offices, governor, lieutenant governor, and Senate candidates also. The Central Committee members are involved in raising money for the candidates and for the DPOC, which really helps out the clubs because it allows the DPOC to provide resources to us that we use at this time of year. Lists and all those things cost a lot of money. And the Central Committee, it's a symbiosis. Central Committee and the clubs work together. The club's activities are often publicized by the Central Committee, and vice versa. The Central Committee's activities are often publicized in the DPOC by the clubs. And they provide a lot of assistance to the clubs. So there's a lot of other things they do too, but really that's kind of the overview, I think. I don't think I missed anything really, but that's basically what the Central Committee does. And just for the people that I'm going to be timing, I will let you know you have 2 minutes to speak, and I'll tell you when 1 minute is up, and when you have 1 minute left, and when you have 30 seconds left, and when the time is up. And the questions, this is going to be the same thing. I'll let you know when there's 30 seconds, and let you know when time is up. So.
Thank you, Alan. That was a very complete, concise, clear description of what the Central Committee does. So Would the 4 candidates for Central Committee please come forward? Jonathan Adler, Faye Hazar, Ted Pearl, and Bethany Webb. You will each have 2 minutes to speak, and then you will each be asked the same 2 questions and have 1 minute to answer each question. After these 4 candidates speak, they will be followed by a video from Parshan Khazravi, who is running for Central Committee and could not be here tonight. Keep in mind that there are 6 seats to fill with 8 candidates in total. Not all the candidates are here tonight. And you may vote for any number from 1 to 6. You do not have to vote for 6. I would like to ask Jonathan Adler to start, and then immediately afterwards we will have Faye, and then Ted, and then Bethany. Thank you.
Hi, fellow Democrats. I ask you to re-elect me for a 4th 4-year term to the Central Committee. To be eligible to carry on the committee work that I'll tell you about, the bylaws require Central Committee membership. I'll continue to contribute a unique set of skills and experience. Institutional memory. I'm tied for the 2nd longest tenure on the Central Committee. Supreme Court. No one exceeds me as a Supreme Court nerd, a SCOTUS nerd. I try to get our activists able to convey how its political agendas, the courts, should make SCOTUS reform a legislative issue. Rule of law and democracy. I know the value of, and I'm able to apply our own internal equivalent of rule of law and democracy, which are bylaws and Robert's rules. I'm a pragmatic progressive. Most Central Committee members' politics are so close to each other that they rarely arise in DPOC work. When they do, the issue is often when to push progressive policies versus hurting our candidates' election. For 19 years, I've been a state convention delegate. For the first 4, I was a delegate by winning 2 ADEM elections. For the last 16 years, I've been on the Central Committee, the first 4 as an alternate, the last 12 years by winning in 3 public elections. In 2020, I came in first out of 17 candidates. For that election, I had this proud moment. At a meeting of our club, Katie Porter, who I never asked to endorse me, came over to my table and said, "I just want you to know I'm endorsing you for Central Committee." Imagine that. For the last 10 years, I've been elected to its executive committee. The first 4 as an alternate, the last 6 as a full member. For most of that time, I also served as exec committee parliamentarian, and for about 5 years as the Central Committee's official or acting parliamentarian. For the last 14 years, I've been on its legislation committee. Last year, Ada Briseño, the chair, appointed me as co-chair of that committee. For the last 12 years, I've also been on its resolutions committee, been active in editing and drafting amendments to resolutions. I was also on its bylaws committee for 12 years. So my work on those committees earned me endorsements for Central Committee of DPOC's current chair, the 2 prior ones, and most of its officers and many of those committees' chairs and members. Thank you.
That's a hard act to follow. My name is Faye Hazar. I'm glad to be here and talk to you. I am also finishing up my first term as a Central Committee member. This is my first election ever, but I was chosen with Central Committee because somebody left the area, so I finished their term. I've lived in Orange County, raised my 2 daughters here. My day job, I'm a clinical psychologist, so as the measure that you're going to be voting on, I'm for it. I'm for health, access to health and mental health. So that's one of my issues. I'm also vice president of Newport Beach Women Democratic Club, and I'm jealous of the size of your club. I just texted the president and I said, wow, they have so many members here, but I guess Newport Beach is different. We're trying to turn Newport Beach blue. We don't have one Democratic in our city council, and I don't think we have had any for the last 25 years. So it's a very red area. The other things that I wanted to tell you about that I also, women's issues are important for me. I'm also VP of Political Action for Women Caucus, which we elect and support and endorse pro-choice women. So that's one of my other passion. And that's all. Thank you so much. I appreciate voting for me. I have been Jonathan Adler's alternate at executive board at the one term, and support him, and thank you for having us here. Thank you.
Good evening, my fellow Democrats. Some of you know me, some of you don't. I've been involved in Central Committee since 2010, either as a delegate or an alternate. This is my third election, and I'm a bridge builder. And a bridge builder builds bridges, gets things done, solves problems. One thing that came up happened right in my neighborhood, in my local precinct. Now, when I moved into my local precinct in 1994, ladies and gentlemen, it was as ruby red could be. Now, because I've worked out shoe leather, worked out a lot of shoes, knocking on doors, talking to people, going out in rain, shine, whatever. You know, kind of following the post office's motto. The mail will come through in rain, shine, snow, or sleet. We don't have those here, but I've been out there in my precinct and turned it from ruby red to medium blue. It has been medium blue since 2016. This is a precinct in Lake Forest that did not vote for Donald Trump. And that's because I work the precinct. Our club also works Lake Forest, Canyon Dems, which is nipping at your heels for numbers. We're up to around 450 right now. And we've worked together. There are a number of issues that are important to me as a Central Committee member. One is to elect Democrats. To elect Democrats who care about income inequality, racism, women's rights, LGBTQ rights, and the environment. We have one planet. There is no planet B. So these are all important to us. These are all things that we must consider as Democrats. And I will leave you with this. I've also spent time working on the Resolutions Committee. I've authored successful resolutions that were passed unanimously by the DPOC condemning Islamophobia and anti-Semitism, which have come back to rear their ugly heads yet again, given events in the Middle East. And again, let me just end with this. Some of you know that I'm visually impaired, which has made me an outsider to some degree. I've been visually impaired for most of my life. And because I'm an outsider, I know what it means to fight for something, to gain respect, to gain equality, to gain rights. And in that sense, I ask for your vote, and I want to remind you, some of you may have seen me struggle, but you will never see me quit, especially on those things in which I believe. So thank you for your time, and hopefully for your vote.
Hi, my name is Bethany Webb. I am currently doing my third term as an ADEM, which is a different thing. So we want, but I go to all those Central Committee meetings, and I think that my voice would be better there than continuing on in ADEM. Some of the things, I'm a lifelong Democrat. The first person I volunteered for was Michael Dukakis, if any of you remember him. And since then, I have volunteered for every president. And for the last 10 years, every congressperson I'm from Huntington Beach, and if you read the paper, you know that's no easy place to be with either. Some of the things that are important to me, I'm going to start with gun legislation. I have a beautiful picture of my sister tattooed on my arm. My sister was murdered in the Still Beach mass shooting. My mom was the sole survivor. My mom was shot but survived. 9 people were shot, 8 people died that day, including 4 of my friends. As you know, Laguna Woods had its recent, couple years ago. You know that it can hit anywhere at any time. It is time that we stand up and say, enough, where is our right to safety? I went and testified for Gavin Newsom for his right to safety amendment. And what we're saying is you have a right for guns, we have a right for safety. I, of course, believe in women's rights. I agree with some of the things that were said here. Right now, we're in a place where war has to be. I've worn these peace sign earrings. I said I was going to wear them at the beginning of the Ukraine war. I have worn them every day for almost 2 years in my quest for peace, for my own belief that what we need right now is peace. Obviously, it has gotten worse with the Gaza-Israel conflict. And so every day I send my thoughts of peace, but I want to do more than that. I want to send my voice to fight for a kinder, gentler world. Bethany Webb.
Now Jean Lepowski will come up and ask the questions. Each candidate will answer the same 2 questions, and we'll have 1 minute to answer each one. The candidates have to come up here to speak. Okay.
Okay. Is my mic working? Yes. Okay, I want to start with Faye. Okay, I'm going to start with a different person each question. Random. Okay, my first question is, have you attended California Democratic Party conventions in the past? Do you intend to continue doing so? And what did you learn from those experiences?
Thank you. Yes, I have been attending them because also I'm a delegate to the California Democratic Party the last 3 terms. And I actually attended them before I was one. And what I learned is, first of all, the energy there gives me hope. There's a lot of meetings. And the first one that I attended was for the presidential in 2016. So that was very exciting to run into different candidates and really get to talk to them. Presidential candidates and everything else, and also how the party works. And democracy is messy, that's what I've learned, but at least it works if you follow. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, no. So have you attended California Democratic Party conventions? Do you intend to continue doing so? And what did you learn?
I've attended California Democratic Convention since 2009. I've learned that, as Faye said, democracy is messy, and as unappealing as compromise may be, it's what grown-ups do. And compromise gets things done. I've been a steadfast member of the Labor Caucus. I'm a 3rd-generation proud union member, and my sons are following in my footsteps. So we are 4 generations of working people coming from a working family who believe in large D and small d democratic values as espoused by the Democratic Convention of the state of California. I also was a delegate to the National Convention in 2012 that nominated President Obama and Vice President Biden in Charlotte, North Carolina. There were several other people in this room who were delegates with me, and that was the experience of a lifetime.
Thank you. The same question, have you attended CDP conventions in the past? Do you intend to continue doing so? And what have you learned?
I have. So as an ADEM, we also go to them. So I've done 3 terms, so I've 6 times. I have learned that Democrats getting together is like herding cats. It is a lot of different opinions everybody has. That it's what makes us really great, I think. So I think it's really important that everybody owns their originality, but that we come together when we have to. And there has never been a time that every Democrat has to come together to save our democracy. Because all the other things, the environment, women, guns, everything that you think of is not going to matter if we don't have a democracy, if Democrats' voices are not heard, and if Donald Trump wins, and or we have a Republican Congress who won't verify the vote, our democracy is gone. So Democrats, herding cats together, we can all get along for 2024, and then we can bicker in 2025.
Jonathan.
Yeah, I remember. Do I go to the convention? Absolutely. For 19 years, I've been a delegate. One thing I do when and I expect and hope to continue to go there, in fact, when you elect central committee members, because of the numbers, they almost always get kind of automatically get to be delegates. So what I do at the convention is I go to committee meetings. I almost always attend the resolutions, legislation, a platform when they have it, and bylaws and rules committee meetings, and I speak up. I find that there are a lot of things that are not very democratic at those conventions. The way delegates are allotted, the way some committee hearings are conducted, like with 1 minute to speak in bylaws and rules. So I've worked with people to increase the democracy within our party. I also submitted to the platform committee. I found the platform had almost nothing in it regarding defending democracy. So I submitted, on behalf of our club, a whole big list of things that really should be done and legislated to defend democracy. Thank you.
Bethany, and the question is, which committees do you intend to participate in for the Democratic Party of Orange County? And how will you bring information back to your constituents in the 72nd Assembly District?
So there's a committee called the Organizing Committee, and I'm a community organizer. It's I think that it's a really important job that all of us are. If you want, Barack Obama was one. So getting the community getting grassroots Democrats to not just vote twice a year or twice every 2 years is to get them up, canvassing, writing postcards, making calls, saving our democracy. So the organizing committee is the one I plan on. And how do I bring it back? I come to all these meetings and talk to all these good people and get to know people all over the 72nd. And I already go to all the Orange County DPOC meetings, so I go there, share my voice, and share your voice. So I plan on being at I'll see you guys as many times as I can a year. You tell me what you want me to take back to DPOC, and I will take it back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I hope and expect to be part of the same committees I've been working on for a lot of years, frankly, at DPOC. The Legislation Committee, resolutions, the Executive Committee are the main ones. Let me just point one thing out. In the Legislation Committee, I'm now co-chair. The bylaws of DPOC and CDP and this club and most clubs in the authority for the Legislative Committee, they include the word propose. Almost nobody proposes legislation that doesn't yet exist. They react and approve or oppose pending bills. I've made it a cause to expand and to utilize the word proposed legislation where none exists. So I have circulated an agenda of proposed legislation that includes some very important issues, including the crazy judges, the Trump pick that people judge shop for nationwide injunctions. That has to be fixed, and other things like that. Thank you.
Thank you. And the other two hats that I wear at Newport Beach Women Democratic Club is field operation, I think you call it GOTV, and fundraising. Unfortunately, it's sadly to say that fundraising is a very important part of every political race or every county party. So I have contributed to that committee before, and I'll continue to do so, as much as I don't like the money in politics. And yes, I'm a member of a few clubs, and unfortunately this is my first time here, but Jonathan covers this club, so I'll plan to go to different clubs beside my own club and Costa Mesa and the different clubs that I go. And I also work with some grassroots organizations, like Imagine Action OC, HV Huddle, different. So not only to the Democratic clubs, I also communicate with a lot of grassroots organizations to bring in for field operation, doing canvassing, text banking. Thank you.
I've served on the resolutions committee. I've written resolutions. That's a committee I plan to return to if I'm elected. I'm also very interested in candidate recruitment. I've also been program chair of Canyon Dems, and several years ago I'm very involved in that club. I'm an at-large member of their executive board, so I will bring back information to not only that club, but I will try to get around via Uber, via camel, via horseback, by any means necessary, to all clubs in the 72nd district and let them know what's going on and let them know where I stand. I'm fortunate enough to know a lot of people in the county and local Democratic Party, people in this club too. It's a tradition I'd like to keep up, and as long as I have the energy, I plan to be the Energizer Bunny and just keep on going with resolutions, candidate recruitment, and face-to-face contact. Thank you.
And now Joel will show us a video from Parshan Khosravi, who is a candidate for Central Committee who could not be here tonight.
Greetings, everybody. My name is Parshan, and I'm ready to represent you at the Central Committee. I've had over 10 years of experience engaging at the various levels of Democratic Party, be it at the Democratic Party's various committees, be it at the California Young Democrats, where I am currently an officer for the organization statewide, as well as at the national level right now with my position as a national committee person for the California Young Democrats, representing the organization as one of the 2 voting representatives at the national level. My reasoning for running for Central Committee is quite simple. I have 3 things that I want to accomplish with this. One is that we need to have more engagement from the youth. The party's way forward and the success of our platform depends on actively engaging the youth. And I know how to get that done. I've been doing that for the last 10 years. 2, we need to make sure that we run candidates for office that have their values at the right place, but also that have their plan and their game at the right place. They know how to get elected. I ran for office myself, for City Council, just a little under 2 years ago. And I know how hard it is in our regional area, in the southern OC region, how hard it is to run as a candidate and to be able to also represent your values. You have to constantly navigate the challenges that comes with having a very, very tough and very, very red area. And you have to still be able to make sure that you know how to win your elections. It's not easy. And number 3, it's our job to help those candidates that have the right values, that have the right game, and that have the right plan, to get them and to propel them forward, to make sure that they have the resources they need, they have the connections they need, they have the support they need to get elected. So friends, our Democratic Party, our values, our issues, our youth, everything is up in this election. And that is why I'm running to represent all of you and all of our community's issues at the Democratic Party. This election cycle, I hope I have your vote and support. Thank you again for letting me share this video. I wish I was there with you to be able to chat with you in person, but I can't wait to meet with you all very soon and connect with every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you to the five candidates who are running for OC Central Committee. Now I would like to ask the 3 Orange County Superior Court judge candidates to come forward: Dan Jacobson, Daniel Kern, and Richard Zimmer. Each of you will have 2 minutes to speak, and then you will each be asked the same 2 questions and have 1 minute to answer each one. Keep in mind that these 3 candidates are running for 3 separate offices, so you can vote for all of them. Okay? So you don't have to choose, right? Okay. Thank you. I'll ask Dan Jacobson to come up first, and then Dan Kern, and then Richard Zimmer, and then Jean again will ask the questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sue. My name is Dan Jacobson, and I have practiced law for 35 years. The psychologists tell us that wisdom is the combination of experience and knowledge. And I have a boatload of experience and a lot of knowledge. I work at it all the time. All the time I'm learning. And that has given me the wisdom that I now want to apply as an Orange County Superior Court judge. My past shows some of that wisdom, and my current positions do too. I am currently serving my 2nd term on the California Board of Accountancy, having been appointed to both terms by now Speaker Emeritus Anthony Rendon. We license and police all of the CPAs in California and all of the CPA firms in California. I've also worked on the Board of Governors of the California Insurance Guarantee Association. I was appointed to that position by Congressman John Garamendi, and that was when John was our insurance commissioner. One of the proudest things that I have, my wedding ring is number 1. Number 2 is a book that was given to me by John Lewis. We talked about Martin Luther King. This is the first book in his trilogy, The March, and it is inscribed to Dan Jacobson. Thank you for your great work. And I want to tell you all that I will continue that great work on the bench.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Daniel Kern, and I'm running for Orange County Superior Court Judge. As I spoke to many of you today and at some other clubs recently, the number 1 question is, well, as Democrats, how do we know which judge to vote for on the ballot? It's so far down the ballot, there's no R, there's no D. How do we know? It's a nonpartisan office, it's county-wide, and we are not running as Democrats or Republicans per se, but I am a registered Democrat. That's why I'm here, is our Mr. Jacobson and Mr. Zimmer. We do have to campaign on both sides of the aisle, which has been interesting, but I'm very glad to be here. This is a lovely room, and you're very lovely people. Thank you for having us here tonight. We have a staffing shortage in Orange County for judges. It's worse in LA County. They're working on it here in Orange County. There's still 9 vacancies that are just outright vacancies. It used to be 12, so it is getting a little bit better. But we have a particular staffing shortage in the area of family law, which is where the area of law that I practice in. Thank you. I've been practicing family law for about 20 years since I was admitted. I joined a Center for Children's Rights clinic when I was in law school, started working in family law matters, and started paying the bills, and that's kind of how it all sorted itself out. But as I attend more family law hearings, as I represent more family law clients, I can see that there's very high turnover on the family law panel. A lot of the times judges will be elected and they will be put on the family law panel as sort of a rookie assignment. That's not really fair to the people of Orange County. Family law is too essential of a service. When you go for your divorce or when you go for your child custody matters, you deserve the same level of service that you would expect on any panel in Orange County. That's why I'm running. I look at the last 20 years of my career and I look at the next 20 years of my career, and I hope to be part of the solution going forward. My only campaign promise is to reach back into the family law pool of attorneys and try to recruit. I believe we have a number of family law attorneys who would be very fine bench officers if they had any encouragement whatsoever. I hope you'll pick up my flyer. I hope you'll come see me at the end. It's Daniel Kern. I'm on your March 5th ballot, and I'm running for judge. Thank you so much.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I just wanted to thank Sue Deering and the organizers of this event for having us here today. These events are really, really important for us, especially judicial candidates, to get out and speak with you. My name is Richard Zimmer. I'm running for Superior Court Judge, office number 16. Just a little bit about myself. I was born and raised here in Orange County. I'm a married father of 2 children, ages 7 and 3. I've been an attorney for about 20 years. When I first got out of law school, I started in a big corporate law firm and decided to go into public service. So for the past 17 years, I've been with the Orange County District Attorney's Office. Yes, there are Democratic prosecutors in the Orange County District Attorney's Office. We do exist. And I'm currently the supervising deputy district attorney of our office's felony panel, which is the busiest trial unit in the office. Prior to my time in management, I specialized in prosecuting child molestation and sexual assault cases. I spent the bulk of my career handling those types of cases. And I think if you talk to my colleagues, both on the defense, the prosecution side judges, that I've really developed a reputation for fairness, for listening to others, for integrity, and I'm very proud of that. And those are all traits you want in a judge. You don't get a lot of information on judicial candidates, but it really, really matters who's making those judicial decisions. I believe very strongly in the rule of law and democracy, and I do believe strongly in public safety. But at the same time, where we have people who are struggling with mental health issues, substance abuse issues, I think we can use the criminal justice system to help them through that rather than just punish where that's appropriate and will not affect public safety. So I've been endorsed by bipartisan individuals, and I hope you vote for me on March 5th. So thank you very much.
Okay, now Jean has the questions for the 3 of you. You each have 2 questions.
Okay, and I'm going to start with Daniel Kern, please. And the first question is, considering that slightly less than 25% of the judicial assignments and departments of the Orange County Superior Court are assigned to any aspect of criminal cases, in which assignments would you contribute most and best to the needs of the court?
Thank you. As I said before, we don't get to choose our assignments. That's the first thing we are assigned. That being said, because frankly, family law is a high turnover, undesirable assignment, that's very likely where I would end up. So that is where my experience lies. And frankly, there are judicial appointees and judicial candidates with sparkling resumes and who have made sparkling contributions to our community already. I am more blue collar, if there is such a thing, and I really just want to improve the family law panel by virtue of my experience serving family law clients who are not fabulously wealthy. They're very everyday people, and I think we just need more of that on our family law panel and frankly in our judiciary writ large. So that's really what I bring to the table. There's nothing special about me except I can do the job. So please, I hope to have your support and hope to have your vote. Thank you so much.
Certainly, thank you. Obviously, the bulk of my experience is in the criminal justice system. So obviously, criminal law is what I have the most experience in. However, I do have experience in complex civil litigation as well during my time out of law school. So one of the things that you need in a judge, because Mr. Kern was right, we don't have any real say on where we get assigned, is the ability to learn quickly and the willingness to dive in and learn the law and learn your assignment. And that's something that I've learned throughout my career. I've had to do that multiple times in my career. And so I'm confident that I will do that again, and I take it very, very seriously, and I could competently serve in any assignment that I'm placed in. So, thank you.
Thank you. Before I get to the heart of your question, Monty over there will kill me if I don't say www.jacobsonforjudge.com. Okay. And he'll just slap me if I don't say that the judge who is retiring, who I would replace if I were to win, Judge John Gastelum, has recently endorsed my candidacy. I learn all the time. I read the cases that come out all the time on various different subjects. I was reading a probate case the other day. I don't do probate. I like to learn. And if I'm assigned a probate bench, a family law bench, a criminal law bench, or a civil law bench, which is the area that I have practiced in, I can do it because I learn all the time. And that gives me the wisdom to be able to do the job.
And the question is, other than your professional background, what is it about your life experiences and personality that make you best suited for the bench?
Sure, thank you. Personality is actually very, very important for the bench. They call it judicial temperament. And I can tell you from appearing in front of many, many judges, it's probably the most crucial aspect of being a judge. What does that mean, and what are we looking for? Cool-headedness, open-mindedness, integrity, fairness, somebody who has empathy, who will treat people respectfully, who can at least understand and connect with people from different backgrounds, who's willing to listen and is willing to put the work in. And I think if you talk to people who know me, I possess all those personality traits. Everyone that I've worked with for the past 20 years has told me you're very cool under fire, you don't get rattled very easily, and you're always respectful of other people. And I think I can bring that to the bench, and I hope to do so on March 5th. So thank you.
And again, I apologize, but I want to just bring, I brought a show and tell. I've written over 40 scholarly articles about the law, and this is most of them. So I learn. As to things, there are many things about my personality that would make me suitable to the bench. I want to serve. I like people. I want to make sure that the kids go to the right place. I want to work hard to make sure that the criminal who is convicted goes to the right place so that he doesn't repeat. Hopefully he doesn't repeat. I also want to mention in my life, in the early 80s, for a brief time, I was homeless. And when down, I got up, I dusted myself off, I went to trade school, I went to paralegal school, I went to law school, and I became a successful lawyer. And that kind of grit is what you need on the bench.
I'm a little bit of the opposite of Mr. Jacobson, unfortunately. I didn't come from the bottom at all. I've had every privilege that I could possibly have had. And for most of my life, I took that for granted. I was kind of a bratty kid, frankly, and sheltered too, and protected, and took very much for granted the opportunities in education that I was given. As I grew and as I've served clients going through divorces and custody battles and domestic violence cases, and as I've had more and more friends and family members have similar difficulties as time goes on, I guess you can just call it maturing. And I can see how people make a change, even in my own practice. A client will come to me and they will be very much in the midst of a conflict, and I've learned how to teach them that there's court life and there's real life, and sometimes those two things are very different, and that regardless of what may be happening in court, there's things that you can do in your own life to help yourself, to be a more mature person, to be a more empathetic person, to change your own behavior, and to take control of your own happiness. I won't be able to counsel people quite that much from the bench, but especially in bench trials where it's the judge who's also acting as a juror, we get an opportunity to counsel people and give them life advice as much as a legal ruling sometimes. And that's something that's been a hard-earned skill through my experience. So my time's up, and I just wanted to say thank you. If you'd like to talk a little bit more, I'll be here at the end. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you to Dan Jacobson, to Dan Kern, and to Richard Zimmer for running for judge, okay? And remember, you can vote for all three of them. And now I would like to ask Dom Jones, who is running for assembly in the 72nd District, to come forward. Dom will have 3 minutes to speak, and then will be asked 2 questions and have 1 minute to answer each one.
Hi guys, how are you? How are you tonight? Are you doing good, Democrats? Oh, I'm so glad. Well, I am Dom Jones. I've been with you before, and so for that I want to say hello, because I come to you and I return now as your California state endorsed candidate for State Assembly District 72, and that is you, so woo, 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 woo. Let's clap for that, okay? Let's do that. You know a lot about me. You've chosen to believe in me for this, and I made a strong political pivot into the right race because we needed someone to run against the current incumbent, and we could do better. There's a reason why. Because do you notice all the things that were said tonight amongst all the candidates? Do you notice a theme? It was empathy. It was compassion. It was being level-headed, like the judge mentioned, and having the right temperament. It was like the young man on the video said, electing and standing with those and candidates who are showing that they are dialed into the community and they are doing all the things that they need to do. I don't have to tell you my story, my background too deep. You know very well that how I grew up. You know I was homeless at one point. You know my mother was 13 years old when she had me, and I had to go to foster care, and I had to work my way out and go to college, and then become a special needs student educator, and then become someone who runs a nonprofit called Democracy, where we help young teenagers get on the paths to leadership and young women. That allowed me to start a business in Huntington Beach. One of very few people who look like me, to unite a community through health and wellness. It's not a question of, Dom, can we do this? Can we get the roughly 6,000 to 7,000 Republican votes that we're going to need in this assembly district to flip it? Oh, that's the kind of lift you need. Is it possible? Yes, it is, and this is why. You must show that. I want to talk to you, Donald Trump voters. Hold on. Because these were my customers. These were the people that I lived with and I helped bring a different level of consciousness to. The level of consciousness that you're on. This wisdom that's in this room and what brought you here. And they stood with me for years and were sad that I closed so I can focus on this. This is my life. I am called to this. We show that, yes, Republicans will vote for a balanced Democrat, a Democrat that champions economic prosperity, equality, and inclusion for all people, who stands to maintain and keep Social Security, who also stands for Medicare for all and what's humanitarian. And because I am the Government Affairs Ambassador with the United Nations Orange County chapter, someone who will champion things that will help us all, not only as a county, not only as a state, but as a nation and as a world, because that is what I am here to do. And so I love you. And as your state legislator, I will go there and I will work alongside all of these people. That's why I'm here with you today, to make sure that the things that you need, letting your wisdom guide the way and letting our youth lift us up, are how we win our campaign. And if you want to know more, you can talk to Richard over there. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
I think you may have already addressed some of this, but maybe you can continue along that vein. What would your legislative priorities be?
Absolutely. So in our district, I have a number of them. First and foremost, we live in one of the most beautiful counties, the second or third wealthiest county in the nation. And we have not seen, in my opinion, enough environmental sustainability efforts put forward. Many of us are homeowners. Well, guess what? An investment in your environment is an investment in your investments. So that the investment that you invested in this beautiful Laguna Woods or Huntington Beach or Newport Beach, areas that are known for tourism. And if we have oil spills constantly, like we just had in Huntington Beach, and we allow that, do people want to go tour in those areas? And what happens? Our home values go down. So let's invest as a priority for me and for going into the legislature, really standing up and implementing for sure no offshore drilling, especially these ones right here outside our beautiful, pristine Orange County coastline. So the environment, super important.
Okay, the second question. What would be the biggest challenge you would face, or the challenges that you would face in your new position as Assemblywoman?
Well, what's interesting is I would be a freshman Assemblywoman. So I would be certainly new to the Assembly. Thankfully, I have the endorsement of our sister city, Costa Mesa, Cotty Petrie Norris, many mayors, as well as those who are leading me the way. I have the endorsement of the state controller, Malia Cohen, as well as our state treasurer, Fiona Ma. And these are people who are leading our nation, the fourth largest GDP in the world, and they are guiding me. So I believe it would be a big navigation in understanding the legislative hallways that I'd have to conquer and the ways in which I'd have to serve. But I know by standing with them side by side, they would guide me 100% of the way. And I honestly work very closely with those on the ground. I sit on the Central Committee for the DPOC, so working in tandem with everyone will lift me up into the necessary planes I have to go for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Dom. Josh Newman is our candidate for State Senate, but he could not be here today because he's in Sacramento working, because he is already a state senator. So therefore, Avery Counts is going to come up and speak for him, and Avery will have 3 minutes to speak about Senator Newman, and then will be asked 2 questions and have 1 minute to answer each question. We did notify Avery of the questions ahead of time because it's not fair to ask a surrogate questions that you would ask a candidate. Thank you, Avery.
Good evening, Laguna Woods. How are we feeling tonight? Tell you what, I feel good. You know why? Because I'm looking at a room full of people who care. A room full of people who are willing. I'm gonna move this up a little bit, kind of kneeling. I'm looking at a room of people who care about their community, who care about their county, who care about their party. Folks, I want to talk to you a little bit about my boss, State Senator Josh Newman. He is running for election in the 37th district. He currently holds the seat of the 29th Senate district. During the redistricting process, Josh Newman and fellow State Senator Dave Min were drawn into the same seat. With Senator Min seeking a rise to Congress, which we are happy to support here at the Newman campaign, Josh is the incumbent in this race. And folks, I hear a lot of talk going around about this race. I want to make one thing so perfectly clear. This is not a safe seat. This is not a safe seat under any stretch of the imagination. There's a small Democratic registration advantage, which I am going to go out on a limb here and say can be attributed directly to folks like you who are registering their neighbors, who are talking to their neighbors, but it's not a safe seat. Thank you. The Republicans are going to go full on attack against Senator Newman during this campaign. Does anybody know how many state Senate seats the California Democratic Party is defending in 2024? One. The Republicans have everything that they can to put into this one seat, to pick it up and take it from us. And when they take it from us, folks, that's less money going to your parks, less money going to your roads, less money going to help solve homelessness, to promote affordable housing. That's less representation for you. That's less representation for our youth in our county, less funding for our schools, and just frankly, a lot more MAGA nonsense, all right? I don't want to send somebody to Sacramento to represent this part of Orange County that is just going to spout more nonsense about who didn't win elections and sour grapes and all of this nonsense that we hear coming out of the national level and now creeping down to the local level. Senator Newman is an absolute joy to work for. He works so hard day in and day out. He's up in Sacramento working hard for us right now to make sure that he can bring more money back to his district to promote the things we believe in. He is the only candidate in this race endorsed by the California Democratic Party. He's endorsed by Congresswoman Katie Porter, Senator Dave Min, Senator Tom Umberg, and very proud to be endorsed by the Planned Parenthood Community Action Fund. Fun fact as well, if y'all remember Prop 1 from 2022, the enshrining the right to an abortion in the California State Constitution, Josh was proud to co-author that because he knows how important it is that we stick up for our women and we stick up for our rights in the state of California. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you.
Okay, 2 questions for you also.
Sure.
First question, how much money did Senator Newman bring back to his district and for which projects?
That is a fantastic question, and folks, I did my homework. During this term alone, we're looking at over $300 million, folks. You elect somebody who doesn't believe in government, you're not getting that $300 million. When we look at which projects, a great deal of that funding went to Cal State University Fullerton, go Titans, which he is very proud to support and make sure that our youth, a lot of youth from folks here in South County going there as well. In addition, millions for the Fullerton Museum, for the Home Share OC program as well to expand its reach to assist more students and seniors, to the Lot 318 group to enable the program to continue its groundbreaking work on reducing crime and gang violence, and as well as $1.5 million to the Lestenic Free Clinic of Orange County to expand their ability to provide healthcare needs through their mobile clinics. There is so much more. I could stand here for hours, but I won't.
Okay, well, how about what are the legislative accomplishments that Senator Newman is most proud of?
Absolutely. So that is a long list, and I'll tell you the ones that he is very proud of and talks about all the time. I think at this point I hear them in my sleep with how often he talks about them. SB 291 requires California elementary schools to provide students with outdoor daily recess period of at least 30 minutes. Of course, you know, fire days, things like that can interfere, but it's important that our kids are outside, they're getting fresh air, they're in the sun, and they're frankly having fun. That's what being a kid's all about. And finally, the Public Safety Collaboration of North Orange County. Recently, he secured $8 million to fund the initiative, which is spread across 11 cities to tackle homelessness, youth gang violence, post-incarceration reentry programs, and the support of small businesses. That was not something easy to put together. I don't know if you've ever tried to put a dinner together with 11 people. Imagine putting this together with 11 cities. It's a lot to wrangle, but he did it because he knew it was important and he cared. Senator Newman would be honored to earn your support on March 5th. Make sure to vote. Thank you all.
Okay, now, would Joel Goldstein come forward? Joel is going to be speaking on behalf of Dave Min, who is the candidate for Congress in the 47th Congressional District, and most of you cannot vote for him, but some of you can. So, thank you, Joel.
This statement was prepared by Dave's campaign. Elected in 2020, California State Senator Dave Min has already demonstrated incredible leadership on issues that are important to Orange County residents. In his first year in office, Dave authored 8 bills and co-authored several others that became law, including bold and aggressive gun violence prevention, climate action, small business advocacy, domestic violence, and reproductive rights legislation. A first-generation Korean American, Dave is running for Congress to create a better California for the children of Orange County, one that reflects our core values of diversity, tolerance, and ambiguity that drew his parents and millions of others like them to this country in search of a better life. Dave isn't afraid to take on Trumpian Republicans and their dangerous policies and works tirelessly every day to create an economy and community that uplift Orange County families. Dave is the only candidate endorsed by outgoing Representative Katie Porter, the California Labor Federation, California Democratic Party, laborers, law enforcement, teachers, gun violence prevention advocates, and environmental groups. When elected, Dave will focus on these issues in Congress, protecting a woman's right to choose, defending our environment, and ensuring a just green energy transition, bringing an end to the gun violence epidemic, and standing up to MAGA extremists and their hateful social policies.
While he was state senator, how much money did Dave Min bring back to his Senate district and for which projects?
Senator Min has been a key advocate for Orange County's local priorities, bringing back nearly $70 million for infrastructure projects and improvements, including $30 million for Orange County Food Bank, $20 million for the Jeffrey Open Space Trail in Irvine, $16.95 million for the Orange County Fire Authority, $15 million for the Alert Wildfire Camera Program statewide, $10 million for Costa Mesa Park upgrades, and $2 million for the Pacific Symphony Education and Community Enrichment Programs, among other projects. Senator Min accomplished this through thoughtful leadership and a bias towards bipartisanship. Senator Min has always towed a fine line between finding common ground that moves forward priorities for voters in his district while remaining uncompromising on democratic values that we hold dear.
Okay, the second question is, what are the legislative accomplishments Senator Min is most proud of?
Senator Min is most proud of, one, being a co-author of Proposition 1, which enshrined abortion in the state constitution. 2, writing and passing legislation to end gun shows at the Orange County Fairgrounds and later on all state-owned property in California. 3, passing the 30 by 30 bill, which will preserve 30% of the state's open space by 2030 in order to preserve biodiversity and save our multi-billion-dollar coastal economy.
Thank you.
And now we have our final two candidates. Would the candidates for Congressional District 40 please come forward? Allison Munoz de Michelis and Joe Kerr. Allison is being supported by LWDC, but we wanted to give Joe Kerr a chance to address you. They will each have 3 minutes to speak, and then will be asked the same 2 questions each, and we'll have 1 minute to answer each one. Okay?
5 minutes. You told us 5 minutes.
Did I tell you 5 minutes? Okay. My mistake. Sorry. All right. I told you 5 minutes. Okay. All right. We will start with Allison. Okay. Allison will be able to speak for 5 minutes, and then Joe will speak for 5 minutes. Okay. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, but truly thank you, Laguna Woods Democratic Club, for your support in this campaign. I'm so honored and thankful. And so many of you know me, but some of you don't. And so a little bit about my background. I grew up in a Hispanic family. I'm one of 4, and I needed free and reduced lunch to make it through. And pretty early on in my life, I realized that education would be my path to better opportunities and to live the American dream. And I ultimately earned a chemical engineering degree from Cal Poly Pomona. And I did environmental work out of school. I cleaned up hazardous waste sites, and I wrote stormwater plans. And in between there, I got married to my husband. We've been married 23 years, and we have 3 children. But what we didn't expect is that 2 of my daughters would be born with a rare metabolic condition. The prognosis was such that my older daughter was not supposed to make it past an 8-year-old intellectual level, and my younger daughter almost lost her life. And so what I did is I fought for them, like I do, and with great medical care and fighting insurance companies to make sure that they got the things that they needed. Today, my older daughter is a senior and is a National Hispanic Merit Scholar. And thank you. And my younger daughter is a sassy 13-year-old and maybe the death of her mother. And so, but it was my work with them that I got really involved in their schools. And what I realized is that about half of my community, about half of the children, about 13,000 children, were not getting the same opportunities as other kids in my district. And it made me super angry, in fact. And it recognized myself in it. So I ran for school board in a 6-point Republican seat, and I did what I always do. I worked incredibly hard, and then I beat a 24-year incumbent by almost 10 points. Thank you. And after that, about 8 months after I was elected, which I did not expect again, I was attempted to be recalled out of that seat by MAGA extremists. So everything that you see on TV, the Proud Boys and the January 6th insurrectionists, came to my school board meeting telling me that they were coming with an army to come get me. And I withstood that recall attempt, and today I've done incredible work. I believe in Tustin Unified. But in California 40, you truly need an advocate, one that truly cares about you, one that authentically represents this district. And I have done that in Tustin, but I can do this in this district. And so this is, in my lifetime, this I believe is the most important election ever. It may be the most important election in your lifetime as well. And you're going to need an incredibly strong candidate to beat young Kim. You're going to need a candidate that shows she can win in a Republican district. You're going to need a candidate that shows that she can out fundraise in this Democratic field. You're also going to need a candidate that's going to be able to mobilize young voters and people of color. And that's why I've earned the endorsement of the Orange County Young Democrats, as well as the California Young Democrats and the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Fun fact, this district is 25% Latino. Also, but the real most important people in this room are you. Truly, it's you. Because if we're able to flip this seat, not only will you get an advocate for you in Congress, one that will make sure that we codify Roe versus Wade, one that makes sure that we pass common sense gun safety laws, one that can also address the rising costs of living, whether that be affordable health care, whether that be affordable housing, or whether that means we fix Medicare so it includes things like hearing aids. But also, if we're able to do this and get a real advocate in Congress, then, and we bring back a House majority, and we bring back a Democratic House majority, imagine what we can do for 385 million people in this country. And then if we flip this seat and the other seats across this country, imagine then what we can do for the Ukrainians. And then imagine what we can do for the rest of the world. This is incredibly important. Democracy is on the table, and you're going to need somebody who's going to be able to win this seat and fight their way through it. And I can do that, and I hope to earn your support. And thank you again.
Thank you, Sue. I appreciate it very much. Thank you, Laguna Woods Democrats. I really appreciate it. My name's Joe Kerr. I'm a retired fire captain, 34 years with the Orange County Fire Authority. I want to tell you why I'm running for Congress. I spent a lot of time responding to disasters throughout Southern California as a young firefighter. I was the youngest fire captain in the Orange County Fire Authority. When things happen in Orange County, people of Orange County filed bankruptcy back in 1994, the County Board of Supervisors. I was asked to sacrifice all that I was as a firefighter and start the Orange County Professional Firefighters Association. We did that, and now those folks defend you here in Orange County, and they protect 2 million people across the county. I'm being called now to respond to the disaster in Washington, D.C. As you've heard, the disaster is young Kim. She has helped to create, with her MAGA extremist point of views, her voting record. She's one-sided in her messaging. She says she's a moderate, but everybody in this room, and I've heard it before I came up here tonight, young Kim is anything but a moderate. She pretends that she is, but she's mostly MAGA. 2024 is a crossroads year for our nation. Reproductive freedom is at risk. Dismantling of the middle class is at risk. Climate change is being ignored. And the sanctity of our democracy is being undermined by right-wing extremists. We see it every day. As you know, this district is one of the best seats to flip blue in order to take back the House. The question we need to be asking ourselves right now is who is the best candidate to face young Kim in the general election, and to bring common sense and sanity back to Congress. This district craves new leadership that understands what it takes to get things done. Here are just a few of the things that I've actually accomplished that put me in a unique position of being able to defeat young Kim. Legislative experience. When my firefighters and paramedics were being regarded as expendable by Republican Governor Pete Wilson, we were faced with mass layoffs, privatization, loss of your paramedic program, even here in Laguna Woods, and stolen pension funds. A similar issue we now see Democrats fighting in Congress as right-wingers threaten to strip away your Social Security and Medicare. As president of the newly formed Orange County Firefighters Association, I was able to pass over 200 pieces of unique legislation focused on affordable health care, pension reform, environmental advocacy, and public safety, signed by 5 governors and 2 presidents, the first of which was Bill Clinton. This legislative experience culminated in esteemed recognition by the Democratic Party of Orange County, gifted me the Samuel Gompers Award for the County of Orange. I'm bringing money back to the district. After retiring, I worked with then Governor Jerry Brown and the entire California legislature to return our vehicle license fee monies that the County of Orange Board of Supervisors lost in court twice. We brought back over $500 million to the County of Orange, working with then Senator Lou Correa, now Congressman. When the Great Recession hit, then Senator Pat Bates asked me to help the Fire Authority, which was again looking at massive layoffs, and I helped them balance the budget, not 1, not 2, but 3 years in a row. It's a $500 million budget. Not one firefighter was taken off the street. Not one person was laid off. We created our own healthcare system for your first responders, for their families, for our retirees. 20 years ago, we said that we were told it couldn't be done. The first year, we gave back $2 million of taxpayer money, and just last year, using the exact same model, we gave back $7 million of taxpayer money. That's $1.5 billion brought back to the County of Orange. Young Kim is touting her $22 million. In Congress, I'll fiercely defend reproductive freedom. I would not have my own family and my own son if it were not for Roe v. Wade. We had to use in vitro fertilization, IVF, which is protected, but we're going to lose that pretty soon if we don't get the House back. What I've done my whole life is advocate for things. I put 1,000 wildfire cameras in the state of California with Gavin Newsom, detecting fires in their earliest stages. I started finding serial polluters on the California Water Quality Control Board, $1 million, a position that Gavin Newsom appointed me to, and I'll help create an economy that works for everybody. I have decades of experience as a labor leader, and I will work very, very hard to protect your Social Security. My proven experience in pragmatic problem solving and leadership in times of crisis has earned me the endorsements and support of Congresswoman Katie Porter, Adam Schiff, Mike Levin, Lou Correa, the entire local Democratic congressional delegation, former Governor Jerry Brown, Josh Newman, Tom Umberg, Gray Davis, and hundreds of unions, including the largest union in the state of California and the largest union across America. There's one candidate to beat Young Kim. It's me, and I humbly ask for your support. Thank you very much.
What would your legislative priorities be when you get to Congress?
Protect Medicare, protect Social Security. That's always in the chopping block with the Republicans, and if they shut down the Congress, if they don't fund the Congress, which they're always fighting for, then those are on the chopping block, and of course fix the donut hole. I would work with Representative Chu and the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee. They're the ones who fund Medicare. They're the ones who make sure it's funded in the future. They're the ones who make sure Social Security is going to be funded past 2035. So that's number one on legislative priorities. Legislative priority 2 is to bring money back to the district. We are a donor county. We are a donor state. In Orange County, the 6th largest county in America, 1 out of every 100 Americans lives here. For every dollar we send to Sacramento, we get 6 cents back. San Francisco gets almost 60 cents back. The same goes on in Washington, D.C. Your tax dollars are building roads in other states. And I bring that money back home. It's something Young Kim can't do, but I have a track record of bringing money home. It's spent here on public safety, it's spent here in roads and bridges and lessening traffic and lessening pollution. Thank you.
I think there are a few, but I'll start with Roe versus Wade. We got to codify it. I have 2 daughters that could lose their lives should they become pregnant, so it's incredibly important to me. And you should also know that this district won Proposition 1 by 9 points. So clearly the people in this district also believe that. Also, we need to address the high cost of living. We need to build more affordable housing. We need to make sure that our young people have an education. And so making sure that we have affordable costs and making sure that we really care for the people here is number 2. And these were all not exactly in order. Also, climate change. I'm a chemical engineer that did environmental work. All of this is for nothing if we don't save our planet. And lastly, I believe that we need to pass common sense gun safety laws. I am a school board member and a mother, and I am incredibly tired of our children being shot at day after day in their schools. And so that is incredibly important to me. We've got a lot of work to do though, guys. And so those are my top 4, but I have quite a few more. Thank you.
Okay. What would be the biggest challenges you would face in your new position?
You know, I work with a team that is 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and an independent on my school board, and we have been able to really work across the aisle with each other. We disagree. We don't always agree, but we find common sense. I think it's bringing common sense back to Congress. I would make the 10th engineer in Congress. There are only 9 of us. There are only 9 engineers in Congress. The way that we're going to have to deal with AI and climate change and this technology advances in every single way. But truthfully, it's going to be making sure that we start to rebuild bridges across the aisle and figure out how we work to get some of this legislation that all of us need to get passed. And so, thank you again.
Biggest challenges. I've been going back to Washington, D.C. to advocate on behalf of Orange County since 1996. Again, the first bill that President Clinton signed in his Budget Omnibus Act was to protect all public pensions across the country after Governor Wilson stole our pensions. The second bill I got signed by President George W. Bush was after 9/11 for firefighters killed in line of duty from cardiac-related events. I also got a bill signed in Washington, D.C. for all of your FEMA urban search and rescue teams. They're the ones who go to 9/11, they're the ones who go to Katrina, and they were not funded after Katrina, so when there was a Haitian earthquake, none of our teams could leave the country to go help out because we weren't funding them. So I've been going back there since 1996. I know the business, I know the buildings, I know the New Dems, I know the Blue Dogs. I have a lot of personal friends. I've known a long time as a congressman, so I'll work with labor, I'll work with the AFL-CIO, I'll work with all of them to get things done. And again, bring money back home, get some common sense back to Washington and so forth. I go there a lot still to this day, so I'm very comfortable being there and being your representative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you, Allison. We appreciate your taking the time from your busy schedules. And thank you to all the candidates who were here tonight. Please, a big round of applause to all the candidates. From Central Committee to Congress, running for office and holding public office is a huge responsibility, and it requires huge sacrifices. And we very much appreciate all of the candidates giving of their time and energy, and we welcome their insights, their qualifications, their knowledge, and their visions tonight. Thank you, thank you. And to all of you for staying around so long, okay? This is much longer than our usual meetings. We thank you very much. And thank you for discarding all your own trash. Thank you.